pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mark, if you lead us in prayer, please.
Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight, Lord, and thank you for your blessing. We thank you, Lord, for allowing us to live in a place called Salem. Father, I pray that you'll be with us in this meeting tonight. Pray that everything that's done and said will be according to your will. Pray, God, that we'll not forget the reason for the season, Lord, that you sent your Son to be the Savior of the world. Father, we thank you and praise your name. Amen.
Amen. Next item up is roll call. I am present. Alderman Williams.
Present.
Alderman Bolerjack.
Present.
Alderwoman Duncan is not here. Alderwoman Cisco.
Present.
City Administrator Burbridge.
Present.
City Clerk Kohler.
Present.
City Attorney Weber.
Present.
Public Works Director Nash.
Present.
Chief of Police Chase.
Present.
Finance Director Stacy Houston.
Present.
And I see we have Josh from wastewater.
Present.
Next item up is the approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
I will call for the vote. Alderman Bolerjack.
Yes.
Alderwoman Cisco.
Yes.
And Alderman Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item up is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion for the approval of the consent agenda?
I will move to approve the consent agenda. I'll second.
I will call for the vote. Alderman Bolerjack.
Yes.
Alderman Williams.
Yes.
And Alderwoman Cisco.
Yes.
Next item up is hearing of persons. Miss Lisa French.
I don't have anything that I'm gonna read or prepare, okay? I'm just gonna talk to you. I'm gonna try to make sure this microphone is on because people are saying they're not getting any sound. Okay, we'll check in a minute. Okay, the first thing what I was addressing was communication, basically, and hearing of persons. And I wanted to start with that Chief Chase and I and another resident had a conversation the other day, and he afforded us a large portion of his time, and I really appreciate what he did. I feel like we sat down and we really communicated. Even if we didn't understand or agree on everything, we talked. And I feel like he heard me, okay? So I talked to him about what his role is here. And I had already done some research and he agreed. He is the sergeant at arms. And he is paid $100 per meeting to be here. And that is to maintain decorum from both ways, okay? And I said, well, if you are the sergeant at arms and you are at the beck and call of, in a sense, the mayor, who protects us as citizens? And I said, are you also the chief of police? And he said, yes. Basically, he's in a dual role. And I said, okay, I understand that. So then I said, when people are removed from these meetings, I said, what governs that? Like when I was removed from a utility meeting, why was I? No reason was given. Why were the Murphys removed? No reason was given. There has to be ordinances or policies. So Chief Chase, I asked him if I could get those. In the course of a long discussion, we kind of lost sight of that. I left without them. Would the city please post the ordinances and policies that the sergeant at arms, the public, and all of you on that raised platform have to follow? Because there does have to, you can't just say, I didn't like her tone of voice, I didn't like her outfit, I didn't like her hair color. That's not a reason. So please let us see what those are. That's fair. Okay, then everybody knows when we walk in here, what's the rule or rules? whatever they are. Okay, the next thing I was wanting to address is I put in a form, request to be heard, and I was surprised to see it in the packet with my personal information, my phone number. That should have been redacted. Then the city administrator was asked about it by somebody else, and somebody did answer my question on the Facebook page, why that was in there. And it says, as far as the address and phone number, this is from the city administrator, on the request to be heard form, that is not protected information. It is requested on the form as proof of residency in the city. If you'll refer to the page I gave you guys, David Hancock on April 11th, 2023 filled out one of these forms, and he did not put in his address or phone number. I wished I had not. We were told it was for proof of residency. How did you prove he was a resident? You know what I'm driving at is not nitpicking. It's called treating people the same across the board. It has to be the same. For one person, it's not one thing. Another person, it's another. No. It should, and I realize we're human beings. I know we make mistakes, myself included, big time. But you have to have some consistency. You have to treat people fair or they get mad. That's a fact, it's the truth. Okay, so I'm not gonna nitpick that, I think you understand what I'm saying. The next thing is an example from, ironically, I couldn't figure out why it's from page 7 of tonight's packet. And you'll see it's the minutes from January 10th, 2023, and I thought, why in the world are those in there? Must be a mistake. I understand now they were never approved, that's why they're there. But if you go down and look at where I made a bracket and an arrow, you all used to not just hear. I taught kindergarten. I used to ask those kids, does anybody hear me? They'd say, yes, we do. And I said, is anybody listening? Big difference. I hear you. I hear a bird outside. I hear a noise. Big difference from listening. Okay? You at times have set a precedent. Like with law, precedent matters. It matters here too. You talk to people. You talked to Sherry Lee. You discussed this back on January 10th, and then you voted on it. But we're told now we won't discuss anything. We're hearing you. I would like to request that whoever's sitting up at that dais isn't timing us. Somebody out here should be. Somebody's timing me. Okay? Because then you're not really listening. You're watching that clock. Shut up. Get done. You're supposed to be listening. You're our representatives. You've taken away our voice. Now you're talking about taking it down to 2 minutes for this, hearing of persons, after the business is all done. We don't get an agenda until the night before. So basically you're saying you can't address anything. And we've already voted on it. You can talk at the end. You don't answer memos. You don't have city hall meetings, because town hall, there might be violence. It's taxation without representation. That is not just my opinion, it's provable. If you guys wanna see how much correspondence has gone to you all of you, with no response, I'll be happy to show anybody. Get a hold of me. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Alright, next item up is new miscellaneous business, bid for well number 4, service upgrade. Mr. Nash, would you like to present that?
This is for discussion of the transfer switch for well 4. If y'all are aware, a few years ago, a generator was purchased with the city, and we have finally got that. We had to have some work done on it, and that generator is now operable. We have it on a trailer where it's mobile. In case we have extended outages that go on for days like we had in the past years ago, we'll be able to take this generator and hook it up to a well, and, we can furnish water within the city through that. This is the first one. This one here is the one down by the swimming pool. That generator down there is, it's no good. I mean, it's shot. So this is why we're going the direction that we're going, to put a new switch and be able to utilize that with the generator that we now have. The generator is big enough to do that. So, the bid summary was sent to the Salem News by the city clerk. It was put in the Salem News November 7th, 2023 edition. The city received 2 bids. Bid 1 was from Aesthetic Electric for $17,968. Bid 2 was from Lumen Electrical Incorporated for $27,476. Looked these bids over, trying to figure out why there was such a difference between the 2 bids. I even went to a local electrician, had him to look at them with me to make sure I wasn't overlooking something here. And after looking those over, I would ask the board to, the amount would come out of the water department equipment maintenance, line item 510-501-46100, and there's $80,000 left in that line item after this purchase. I'd ask the board to accept the bid from Aesthetic Electric for $17,968.
And they didn't give a reason for the $10,000 increase on the second bid?
We couldn't figure it out. I mean, they did different, I mean, it was the same equipment, different manufacturers, and, we done our due diligence to check. We get the same warranty with whichever one we go with, so I couldn't.
Looking at the differences in the included packet, I can't seem to find any real differences.
Probably would cost me a little bit more. I didn't see it.
Do our other wells have a generator on
No, we've got switches to put on those. We're starting to put those on. The thing that we have to make sure of is the rotation on those wells. And, that's one thing we're checking to make sure that the rotation is correct on those wells. There's different taps on this generator where we can change the rotation if need be. But, the generator is set up for well 4.
Okay. Yeah, with that information, I would move to accept the bid from Aesthetics Electric for $17,968.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? I will call for the vote. Alderman Williams.
Yes.
Alderman Borzak.
Yes.
Alderman Cisco.
Yes.
Next up is.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mark.
Mark.
Next up is the bid Masters Industrial Park signage.
Okay, so, bids were advertised, October 17th. And, November 16th, we opened bids. We had 2 bids received for this project. Alexander Construction at $137,643.60. And Action Graphics Sign Company in partnership with B&K Welding for $49,365. And after reviewing the proposals and quite a bit of questioning back and forth with the companies, it's my recommendation that we actually reject both bids at this time. Action Graphics, even though they were within budget, we do have $50,000 budgeted for the signage. The tenant panels, or the interchangeable name panels for the businesses in the industrial park, that's what it comes down to is the issue. And to be honest, that's the purpose of the sign, is to let people know that, hey, these businesses are in this industrial park. So,
when we put the bid specs together, we had stated that the lettering needed to be, had to meet Federal Highway Administration specs, which is for the speed limit on that section of Highway 32, means they have to be a minimum of 6 inches. So if we, in their bid packet, they had 2 options for the layouts of those tenant panels. And the first one would be the full width of the sign, and they were able to accommodate, you know, in that minimum 6, they were a little over 6. The concern was they only allotted for 7 panels. I asked for 12 in the bid specs. And the reason for 12, we have 7 active businesses. We have 2 basically vacant buildings, 1 that plans to start a business within the next 6 months, and then 3 surveyed, ready to go lots. So we needed, you know, and part of the certified site application also listed that on our new sign, we would have lots available with a phone number. So, like I said, they only allotted for 7. Then when, you know, the question about, okay, we can split those down the middle and have 14, the problem is then the font shrinks and it doesn't meet those specs anymore. And since that really is the main point of having that entrance sign, that's why I'm recommending that we reject both bids at this point. And then, I would like your permission then to rebid that if you're of a mind to do so. And so include that in the motion if you're so,
Okay, that makes sense.
any other questions that I can answer?
Yeah, just the question I have is, I don't know, like, I'm kinda looking around and seeing, it doesn't, I don't know if Action Graphics are, you know, the only one that came in under budget would be able to, because they'd have to widen the
Right,
entirety of the
and
sign.
that's why I'm saying rebid, because
Yeah.
it's gonna have to change, either they're gonna have to widen it or they're gonna have to make it taller, one or the
Or
other.
if they're gonna be able to make it within the specs and get it within the budget, is the question.
Well, and
I can
it
see
was
what-
bid out, and we asked them specifically to break it out so that the entrance sign had a separate cost.
Yeah.
The wayfinding sign had a separate cost, the airport sign, so that if we were over, if a bid came over, but met the other specs, we could choose one of
Okay,
them.
okay,
And honestly, my preference is the entrance sign, if we're gonna do one, let's
Yeah,
do that.
makes sense.
Okay. Is there any other questions? Okay. I'll go ahead and move to deny all the bids submitted for the Masters Industrial Park and Airport signage and, rebid or, request for bids for, these signs with updated specs.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? I will call for the vote. Alderman Boyd,
Yes.
Alderwoman Cisco,
Yes.
and Alderman Williams.
Yes.
Next up is the board appointments, the enhanced enterprise zone.
So the enhanced enterprise zone is something that is a joint entity between both the city of Salem and Vince County. And so as such, in its kind of originating documentation, board appointments need to be approved by both the Board of Aldermen as well as the county commission. So these have not gone to the county commission yet. And so there are actually 4 recommendations. So 2 seats for reappointment of a 5-year term, their term is up. Those individuals have agreed to serve another term. These are 5-year terms. So that's Willie Strader with Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance and Jamie Holmeyer, our county assessor who's also with VIP Realty. So reappointment to those 2 seats. And then there are 2 seats due to vacancies that are specifically reserved for taxing districts. Okay, so you'll see we have schools for both seats. So Jeff Dodson from Northwood R4 has agreed to fill out the remainder of that term. And then Nathan Wills, the assistant superintendent, incoming superintendent for next year, has agreed to fill that term. And just as a quick snapshot, I think most of you have heard me give a spiel about the Eat Easy before. This board would have recommending authority to the city and the county to make a recommendation to waive property taxes. So if we had an existing business who is doing an expansion, or a new business coming in, and there are specific criteria listed in the brochure, what those businesses can be, they could recommend the deferment, basically, of property taxes in exchange for getting those new jobs for our citizens. So, that's the point of this board. And that's why there's taxing entity representatives on it, cause it would impact them as well. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
If there are any other questions, I'd move to approve the EEZ board, reappointments of Willie Strader and Jamie Holmeyer for the terms of 2024 to 2027, and appointments of Jeff Dodson and Nathan Wills to complete a term ending in December 2025.
That should actually be 28, my apologies.
2028.
Yes, for Willie
I was
Strader.
I was just counting, I'm like, I don't think that's right.
My apologies.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? I will call for the vote. Alderwoman Cisco,
Yes.
Alderman Boyd,
Yes.
and Alderman Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Next up is the reading of bills, the second reading for bill number 3579.
Bill number 3579, an ordinance renaming the Community Service Committee to the Community Involvement Committee and giving it new direction for the city of Salem, Missouri. Whereas the Community Services Committee was created in 1980 to oversee sanitation operations, police services, use of city property, and parks and recreation, and the city desires to give the committee new direction to reflect current conditions in the city.
Thank you.
As discussed at the previous meeting, this bill number 3579 was once, what is currently called, community service. We are wanting to rename that and also, redo the description of this, and rename it the Community Involvement Committee. This committee is exactly what it sounds like. Just getting citizens involved within the community, helping host events, plan events, mainly focus on the firework display, try to keep that going at, for it to expense itself. So, or revenue, for itself. And so, other than that, we're not scrubbing. Well, I mean, we may sometimes if it's needed, or if we're asked, but, we don't want people to think of community service or a committee to be as a punishment. You think of community service, you think of somebody doing something wrong or out of the will, but community involvement, I'm hoping, is a little bit more attractive to citizens to be a part of and to join in and to give a helping hand when needed. So that is the purpose of renaming this and also giving different duties for this committee.
Makes sense to me. I'll go ahead and move to approve bill number 3579.
I'll second.
And we'll call for the vote. Alderman Boyd,
Yes.
Alderman Williams,
Yes.
and Alderwoman Cisco.
Yes.
Thank you. Last but not least, reports of city officials, boards, and committees. Ms. Burbridge, do you have anything
No
tonight?
report this evening.
Next up is my report. I don't have nothing to report on. I just wanted to wish all of our citizens a Merry Christmas and maybe a happy and safe New Year. I'd ask that everybody keep a lot of families in their thoughts and prayers. We've lost a lot of great individuals in our community this year, and just a little time to reflect, because it's kind of hard for families to deal with that, with missing, parts of, missing folks of their loved ones not being there for the holidays. So, other than that, next up is Mr. Nash.
We have continued to get some of our dig-ins, getting those taken care of. They were over here on Washington, that's where they ended up this afternoon, getting that one. And they'll continue as long as the weather holds out. The weather's held out for us pretty good, we're getting a lot of them taken care of. The Al Brown Field project, we found out today, We finally got the big disconnect that we've been trying to find and couldn't. It's supposed to be here in March, so they're gonna go ahead and get started on that out there so that they can get that, taken care of. We're hoping to have everything ready, so when the switch comes in, we can mount the switch. We're gonna go out next week. The weather will hold out, and we're gonna get a pad port out there for our transformer to be on. Over here at the trade center, they've had to add some more dirt on the south side of that building. Our transformer has to be 10 foot away from that building, and the way the dirt was sloped, it wasn't possible. So, they're supposed to have that done. We're gonna go there tomorrow to check it. If it's ready, we'll start getting that, poured, to get that slab ready for that transformer to be on. We're gonna try to get the wire ordered tomorrow for that. Josh Koshidoff has been really good to try to find us a deal on some wire. Our hopes are that we can buy, partial reels rather than have to buy a whole reel. Some of these suppliers will have a partial reel that they can't get rid of because it's not enough for some projects. We found some that we think will be good for our project, so we're hoping to get a little bit of a cut on that. And, that's all I've got.
I have a couple things for you, Mark.
Oh.
You be prepared, no. Can you get get some of the guys over there from the street department to look at that? What it is, there used to be a water leak over on East Martin Street. You guys fixed it, but with all the rain that we had a few weeks ago, probably a month ago, washed out all that gravel downhill. So I know that if there's another rain that comes in, it's probably going to happen again. So I don't want you to waste the resources to fill that hole if we know there's gonna be bad weather coming. But maybe look at it to see if there's something else we can do to where your gravel's not washing down that hill.
And then we can just get get the asphalt put in and take
Yeah,
care of it.
that'd be fantastic. I just have residents on that street,
Okay.
messaging me. I also have a resident, who it lives off of East First Street, and I know East First Street is kind of divided between like a house and a field. If you know where I'm talking about, it's like East First Street, and then there's Martin Street, and it goes back to East First Street. It's on that other part of East First Street.
Okay.
They are having issues with clutter and trash, and they think that it's unsafe for the animals. If we can get Travis or Jared over there, I'll text the picture to you.
Okay.
But they said the address is 809 or 811 East First Street.
Okay.
And they're concerned for the animals and the property itself.
I'll not think about it, then.
I appreciate you, thank you.
Oh, one more thing, sorry.
Oh,
The boring
now,
project, we
does it-
will do that, planning on doing that this Friday on 8th Street, getting that done, so they're supposed to be here early that morning, and, we'll get that project done. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Brett.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Since Melissa's not here tonight, Alderman Cisco, your report, ma'am.
I really do not have anything to report on. Healthy Dent County and the Chamber of Commerce is having a New Year's Eve ball. That will be on New Year's Eve. The tickets are now available. You can purchase those at the chamber, at their facility, or you can go online and purchase them there. Are they at Healthy Dent County as well? They are also at Healthy Dent County. If you'd like to purchase your tickets there, you can also, reserve a table. If you have a large group coming and you wanna sit together, that is also an option. Other than that, I wanna thank all of you guys, because this is my busy time of the year with basketball going on. Coaching another team for Melissa because she was in need of a coach. So if you're ever looking to get involved, I feel like Parks and Rec is always needing coaches or referees for some sport that is going on. But I'm also coaching a traveling league basketball team, so I appreciate you guys for whenever I do have conflicting in schedules and approving me to not be here sometimes. So other than that, I think that's it, other than thanking all of our city workers for another year of hard work and being dedicated to the city. I know that sometimes it's not the greatest, place with how short-handed we have been due to, budget cuts and things like that, but you all are sticking it out, and I cannot tell you how much we appreciate you. I'm speaking for everybody on that half. We just appreciate all the city workers, and with the Christmas party coming up this weekend, I hope to see a lot of our city workers there, just so I can personally thank you, and I hope everybody has happy holidays.
I have no report, but I do wanna wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year as well.
That was quite
Time to shine.
Okay, I do have some things to report, more than just saying Merry Christmas. Yeah, I know. So we will be having a utility committee meeting tomorrow, 6:15 at the Armory. There's a couple things we'll be talking about. We'll be meeting with somebody from HomeServe. They will be zooming in. They have some, potential programs that they want to talk to us about that we may be interested in. We'll have some reports of our financials and billing updates. We'll be reviewing some of an ordinance for defining the committee itself. It seems that we have not had a clear definition of that in the past. We're hoping to set some things straight. We'll also be looking at an ordinance of deposit amounts, as well as some online information systems regarding things like customer screenings and collections. So that's what we have to look forward to tomorrow at the utility committee meeting. Speaking of utilities, I did have a quick interview with Ben earlier, the Salem News here. We talked a lot, we had a good discussion. I don't know if the story is coming or anything. Next week probably, but you could see some of my comments there regarding utility rates. I kind of tried to do my own rate study of nearby cities and where Salem sits in regards to things in the county and other nearby cities. I did find that we are high, but we do, I did talk to Ben, and we are expecting things to come down, we think, as things progress. So that's just a few of my prequel comments. So there's that. There's a couple of other meetings and things that I'm gonna mention. I will be attending a Merrimack Regional Planning Commission meeting, that is on the 14th. It's mainly dealing with federal transportation priorities and what we can do in the state. I'll be representing Salem for that. If anybody has any questions, feel free to email me after that, regarding what is said at those. I can answer what I can. Dane County Health Center is holding a vaping town hall on the 14th. I'm interested in going to that. I don't know if I'll have a lot of time, but I would recommend people that are interested in quitting smoking and want to talk about, the city and where the city is on smoking and what Dane County Health Center says on those kind of things and the vaping epidemic that we see in children. And that'll be on the 14th as well. I think at 5, 6 o'clock.
I'm not sure.
Let me look. I have it on my phone.
Okay.
I know it's the.
I was gonna ask you if it's okay, so we do have a draft ordinance
Yeah,
for smoking, the parks.
yes.
To go before the Parks and Rec Board at their next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we need to do that, I think the week before Christmas potential.
A week before Christmas?
If anybody didn't hear that, we have a ordinance going in front of the park board about smoking within the parks. So there's things,
We'll talk about this.
Yeah, I know there was like 3 dates and I didn't hear who else, I just said any day was good for me, I think it's the week after
Talk
Christmas.
a little bit January.
Oh.
regarding the policy on smoking in the parks. So I just wanted to mention that, in case you guys couldn't hear what they were saying.
I'm personally very excited about that ordinance,
it's-
just to bounce off of Kyle real
Sure.
quick to steal your thunder. I am very excited, I'm not saying that I'm anti-smoke, or if you smoke, you're awful, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, it's hard when you have a coach who's coaching on a field that's smoking right next to children, or, being active on a ball field, especially in the park area, if kids are running, they're inhaling that smoke, it's very difficult for them, especially me as an asthma person myself, being very asthmatic, it's hard to exercise if somebody's smoking next to you. I grew up with parents smoking, I had a husband who smoked, It's not that we're saying it's bad, it's awful, it is not healthy, but, we're just trying to make it better for kids who are active in, outdoor facilities, so.
And I also have one thing, I've been busy.
It's 5:30 to 6:30 Thursday.
Oh, 5:30 to 6:30 Thursday is the, Dent County Health Center, the vaping town hall, so. The last thing that I have, is regarding the transportation, and I've been talking about this a couple times in the last couple meetings about, the city. You know, I would like to see this, a city bus, try to get put in, for transportation. Something I have found out is that Houston runs one, and I kind of looked at a model for Houston, Missouri. They used a grant that I would like the city to apply for that pays for a bus 80%, through MoDOT. And they run a transportation system, I know it's one more thing, but they run a transportation system taking 20 stops 4 times a day, absolutely free of charge. It runs around $60,000 a year, much like I was saying previously, but I think having those options for our citizens would be a great benefit. At that cost, I think there's very few other services that we get use out of. It also, in Houston, is one of the most used bus transportation systems in the state. But being able to acquire a bus is one thing, and then running it ourselves is another option. So I'm trying to look at that. It's MoDOT section 5311. Obviously it won't happen quickly, because the grant process is a fairly lengthy one, and you have to go for bids and everything else, but it is something I want to stress that I think we could really use in the city, especially after being through MRPC recognized as a community with transportation needs. So I am going to work on that for the rest of my time, trying to set that up as an alderman, as well as after my time, I will try to work with the city in setting that up. But it will come down to a vote, and there will be budget items that I will propose. So that's it. I'm done now.
Mayor, I do want to take time to, send some recommendations your guys' way for the Community Involvement Committee for the next meeting. Elena Sellers would like to be on that committee, and the same with, Sierra Conway. Connell, thank you. I was like, I'm saying that wrong. Sierra Connell reached out, and she is interested in being on that committee as well, so I'd like that to be on the, next agenda, please.
Kyle would like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
You said that really quick, but.
Well, yeah. I don't want him to feel left out.
He said it at the beginning.
Oh, Happy New Year.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
that's the
Okay.
spirit. All right, next item up, it will be closed session, for personnel, attorney-client privilege and contracts. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
I move to go into closed session for attorney-client privilege, contracts, and personnel.
I'll second.
I will call for the vote. Alderman Williams.
Yes.
Alderman Boyd.
Yes.
Alderwoman Cisco.
Yes.
Thank you all for attending tonight.